Good morning. It's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me here on this live broadcast. You know, I was looking around in my my office the other day, and I found this cup that I had come out with probably 15 years ago. And what makes this funny? Hang up the phone, go sell something. Who hangs up the phone anymore? It's like, put down your smartphone. And then the other one was, on the other side, was put down the coffee, go sell something. And I thought that was really great, because selling is what we're talking about here today. And by the way, if you're just joining me for the first time, I am Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doctor. You can find out more about me at retaildoc.com. And I want to have a shout out. Last week, I was at Puffer Bellies in Stanton, Virginia. Do you know that that video's got something like 15,000 views so far? Amazing people, but also amazing to look at the power of Facebook live video. It's really working, and I actually have a question about that, and I'm going to jump right into your questions today. So Summer asks, how can I give incentives to my team without making them greedy and become salespeople that push everything just to make sales? I want to reward my amazing team, but don't want them to be pushy salespeople. Wow, Summer, do you have issues around selling? And that's not unusual. You know, I ask in my keynote speeches, I was in Chicago yesterday doing a keynote speech at Navy Pier, 1,000 people. And I always ask the question, how many you would want your kids to grow up to be a salesperson? Just raise your hand. Crickets. Why is that? Because we think selling is something bad and something you do to someone, and something that's like selling used cars or something, I don't know. And yet it's funny, there's nothing that, there's nothing I'm wearing or you're wearing right now, or that you carry or see or sitting on, that didn't happen without somebody selling it. And I think it's time we made friends with selling, especially if you're an independent salesperson. What are you going to do? Just be a warehouse waiting for people to come in and say, I'm looking for a mug that says, put down the phone, go sell something? Or are you willing to actually help people that walk in who are just looking for something and actually sell your merchandise instead of doing something like 20% off this weekend only? Because that's really pretty passive. And that also doesn't make you money. And you know what? A lot of stores that do that over and over again are really more hobbies than retail stores. So actually, I think it's quite a leap you take from giving incentives to a team and suddenly making them into pushing everything to make a sale. The reason you give an incentive is so that they actually do go out of their way to drive a sale. So if you don't want them to do that, then you probably shouldn't think of incentives and raise their raise their pay per hour. But at the end of the day, incentives are based on bonuses and hitting goals. So you'd have to set some kind of goal for your store based on either history or based on your experience of last month or something like that, and then customize it. But frankly, you've got some serious work to do with the way you look at sales, because it's not slimy, it's not awful. And by the way, if you're just joining me, I would certainly love to have you tell me where you're from in the comments. Thanks for joining me, Darren. Glad you liked last week's video. But honestly, that's probably what's wrong with most businesses, is we think we shouldn't or don't have to sell something. And why do you think I do this? I am selling you that I'm a trusted advisor for your business, and you have to do the same thing to people in your stores. So let me know where you are joining me from. I would love to have that. And Sarah Gentry asks, what do you propose to suggestively sell all the time to stay consistent? If the purchase is a certain dollar amount, if they are a returning customer. And then she went on to this long thing about how she likes to shop and just get what she wants, and that's it. Well, Sarah, that's what your personal shopping is, but that doesn't mean that's what you should be doing with your own business. Sorry. At the end of the day, there are two types of suggestive sales, right? There is an add-on, which is something that you do at the end of the sale, or an upgrade. And you have to do both of those, and they're different. The upgrade is something that does more than the version they originally came in for, right? So that's what an upgrade is. And then the add-on is a companion product you're going to use that they get more out of the original the original product they got. Does that make sense? So you should always be looking to do both. And again, customers want a complete answer. So even though you may personally want to walk in and say, I'm going to keep using this mug because I have it here. I want the put down the coffee mug. At the end of the day, if you say, you know, what would go really well with this would be coffee, and I have it right over here. Right? That's what an add-on looks like. And add-ons are the profit. And those are actually the biggest marker, Summer, for a crew, because if your average count of items going out the door is like 1.1 or 1.2, your crew is pretty much a clerk. You know, the way you tell how well a selling crew you have is the number of items that go out the door, and that really is the add-on. sale at the end. So I hope that helps with you, Sarah. And Aaron asked, what's the best way to deal with negative online reviews? Look, you deal with all reviews the same. Respond to all of them. You know, we're so thrilled that you enjoyed being at our restaurant last night, or we're sorry you had a bad time. In fact, here's a quick story. I'm at the beautiful Hyatt Regency in Chicago yesterday. Amazing, beautiful, iconic property in Chicago. And I go in to have breakfast there before the speech. And the guy seemed a little hurried, and I ordered a breakfast burrito. And after like 30 minutes, I just turned to the guy, can someone get my food? And finally he comes back, somebody just puts it on in front of me. Nobody comes back to check on the tea or anything else. And so as I'm leaving, I just go up to these three girls who've been at the counter the whole time. And I said, you know what? You have an amazing property and amazing food, but if you don't fix the staff, you are going to be dead. And the one's like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. We had 2 people call in sick. And I said, don't care. She goes, you're right. I said, this is a Hyatt, right? This isn't some roadside motel with a flashing gold crown in the desert. This is a Hyatt, for God's sakes. Upgrade your abilities. Well, I left. I know sometimes I can be kind of pointed, but that's the point. There's mediocrity everywhere. Why not call them on it? So she actually wrote me back. I'm on the plane last night. She writes me, hey, you were at breakfast this morning. I'm so sorry. I've comped your meal. Thanks for the feedback. And I wrote back and I said, thanks. I didn't expect that. But what got me was the 3 of you didn't pitch in. And that's what a great restaurant does. And then she wrote back like, thanks for that. And that's it. Nice to have you joining us, Linda, here in Niceville, Florida. Niceville, Florida. What a great place. I'm in Niceville, but I love that. So you always answer them, and look at the way that we had that little dialogue. So always answer them so it shows that you're available, and also answer them right away. You don't want to answer them in 5 or 10 days or weeks or something like that. And if you're just joining me, please give me a thumbs up. I love to get your notes, your thumbs up. Let me know where you're from. Again, I'm Bob Phibbs, the retail doctor. The hound is out of visibility this morning. She's asleep on her dog bed. All right, just a couple more. Brittany asks, when do you know it's time to give up on your business? And I say, well, quite simply, if you're not having fun and you're not making money and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you've been doing this for 3 or 4 years, could you use that time and money somewhere else? An awful lot of people open a business. Oh, I've always wanted to open my business, without thinking, how am I going to market it? How am I going to be competitive? And how much time is it really going to take? You know what? If you really want to be successful in retail, you got to constantly go after it each and every day. And that starts with how you unlock your door. Oh, it's going to be dead. It's raining. Wow. All that energy you just put in there. I hate to sell. You put that right into your store. So what are you doing today to make it a great day? And Caro asks, what do we do? It seems like our middle-class customer average has disappeared as new shops have gone upscale. What should we do? Do we have to adapt to a new type? And I always say, if your customer has moved, you better go find them, because a competitor is going to go after them right away. So it's always good to look at things and say, wow, this price point isn't selling anymore. We need to get a better version or a cheaper version, or we need to have a online component so our own customers can shop from us when we're closed. All of those things that you're looking at convenience gets rid of those pain points that customers decide to choose someone else over you. And let's see. Jane asks, what's the best way to publicize a new online business that supports women jewelry artists in Southern Africa? Okay, so Jane, the whole point is you have to think about the customers, not about you. So who is she? Why would she support this? And the best place you could do that would be on a Facebook Live video like I'm doing right now, because you can target, I want you to sponsor this ad to people who have shown they like African jewelry, or they like custom jewelry, or any number of things, and you can find those people online, which we never could have before. I would much rather do that than take out an expensive ad or something like that. Shelley in Beaufort, South Carolina, love your advice. Oh, aren't you sweet? That's great, Shelley. Thanks for joining me. And Lori asks, how much money should you expect to make per square foot? Is there a calculation how much inventory should be in store per square foot? Okay, you should sell $1,000 per square foot. If you're not doing that, you're terrible. All right, so obviously that's not the answer. But at the end of the day, that's not how you figure it. There's no average for that. At the end of the day, the way you know if you're overbought is you're looking at the same merchandise and you just keep buying because you think that's going to solve you. The turn has to be 2 to 3 times on your inventory when you look at your numbers. And if you don't know merchandise turn, just Google it. There's a lot of places you can find out about it, and that's what determines what you should be doing with your inventory. And the last question I'm going to answer today is Ruby asks, what are some good tricks to maximize space in a small retail space? So great way to do that is mirrors. Even if you're like behind the, let's say you have shelves on a wall, have mirrors behind that. It'll make the place look a lot brighter. Also use light colors, not dark colors on the floor or on the walls. Also, your organization has to be really clear. So having more stuff and more stuff isn't the answer. You know, the trend in 2017 is less is more. So make sure that a customer doesn't feel stupid by looking at 8 versions of, I don't know, a kid's tea set. Here's the one, and here's some descriptive copy about it and why you should buy it from us instead of somebody else. So, hey, Rosetta from Wyoming. Nice. All the way out there. It's early for you out there today. And remember, at the end of the day, you're about as successful as you make your mind out to be. I can't tell you how many small business owners I hear at conferences who will be talking about how it sucks to be them. You know what? There are millions of people around the world that would love to have your problems. There are thousands of people in America that would like to own their own business. There are an awful lot of people that would be jealous for the opportunities you take for granted right now. So use that to your advantage. And you know what? Before I forget, why don't you put down the coffee and go sell something? I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. I will see you next week. Thanks.